Good morning. Welcome to the Premium Public Video Forecast discussion for Friday, January 12th, 2024. It's a Friday. It's the end of the week. You made it. Congratulations. Now we get to have a little bit of fun. Will we or won't we have a winter storm? That is the primary question I'm getting all over the place on social media, emails. So I'm going to break down some of the data. And of course, we also have a strong rainstorm on the way with some gusty winds for tonight. Not as severe as what we saw earlier on in the week, but still a robust system nonetheless that could produce some areas of flooding and some minor wind damage. So let's talk about all this. And of course, we'll cover the weather impacts for the NFL football games this weekend because it's the playoffs, and playoffs wouldn't be the same if there wasn't some location getting some snowfall out of it. So currently, right now, we have temperatures ranging from the upper 20s to lower 30s over the northern interior and in your suburbs, mid to upper 30s in your urban areas, with winds generally light around 1 to 5 miles per hour and variable. When we take a look at our latest surface map and radar from WeatherTap, high pressure is starting to leave the region. We'll start to get more of a southwesterly wind as we move on through the day. And here comes our trouble that is brewing here in the Ohio River Valley and the Tennessee River Valley. This low pressure system will continue to intensify and basically converge and combine itself into one very powerful low pressure system over the eastern Great Lakes by the time we get to tomorrow morning. That's going to lead to very significant snowfall around the Chicago area. They're looking at around 10 to 12 inches of snow out there. Meanwhile, this area of heavy rainfall will be heading towards our neck of the woods for this evening. Now, when we take a look at the upper level winds, first we'll start at 850 millibars. And I want to show this because right now we have cold air in place, and there is a little bit of a concern for the Poconos and Catskills to start off with a little bit of snow and sleet and freezing rain late this evening, say after 8, 9 p.m. And we'll watch this very carefully. But as this feature here, this southwesterly and southerly flow starts to really take hold, the cold air is going to get driven out of here pretty quickly. There's really nothing to keep the cold air in place. So our low pressure system, which is developing, will continue to head up towards the Great Lakes, the eastern Great Lakes. And this feature right here is what we're going to be watching for strong winds as it marches towards our region. When you take a look at the infrared satellite picture, you can see plenty of lifting, plenty of strong lifting. This is a robust, strong system. You have impressive cloud tops, cold cloud tops here over the central Great Lakes, over the Midwest, pushing into Ohio River Valley and Tennessee River Valley. And this feature is what's going to be lifting towards our area, while this area continues to intensify and produce heavy snowfall throughout the northern plains and portions of the western and central Great Lakes. Now, take a look at our upper level winds. You see, why is this storm cutting up towards the Great Lakes? Well, our block isn't mature yet. It's just starting to form. So it's not very well established. In fact, this feature will actually help to really establish our block. And in the meantime, we already have this negative tilt. Now, here's a little rule in meteorology. Where the trough axis lies is very important. So you have to understand where the ridge axis is, out here, and your trough axis, which is right here. When you have a negative tilt this early, or basically over the Mississippi River Valley, that is a strong sign that your storm is going to be cutting up towards the Great Lakes, because there's nothing really to force that feature to shift towards the East Coast. So you get this early phase, and when you do have a block, what typically happens is your low pressure system cuts up towards the Ohio River Valley, and then you get a slow redevelopment towards the coastal waters that can be very energetic. So you have to sometimes watch out for that. But in this case, you really don't have that factor. And then you have your strong polar vortex representative here in the troposphere, hanging out here towards the central western Canadian plains to the west of the Hudson Bay. So these are all signs that you're going to get a storm cutting up towards the Great Lakes, right? Keep that in mind when we talk about our storm for next week, the importance of trough axes and ridge axes, and why they're important to keep an eye on when you're studying the model guidance. So we have this setup clearly in place for the region for tonight, and there on the water vapor satellite picture, you can see the phasing beginning to develop and the low pressure system organizing and getting itself active. You can see the nice leaf right here that's starting to develop, setting up your heavy precipitation for Chicago and locations over the Western Great Lakes, and our area of convection that is going to be lifting up towards our area. Now, in this scenario, the convective ability and the strong lifting involved here is not as robust as last time, so we're not going to have full mixing of this feature right here. This is at 850 millibars, what we were just looking at right back here, right? So now we're moving forward to tonight around midnight. And this jet stream will be moving through the region. It will help to support transport of moisture, and it will help in supporting strong wind gusts. So again, the difference between this one and the one earlier on in the week is that we're not getting full mixing here. So we're still talking about 60 to close to 90 knots here. So that's still pretty impressive lifting through the region, supporting the potential for wind gusts between 30 and 50 miles per hour when it gets somewhat mixed down towards the surface. And so that is what we're going to be keeping an eye on. Now, what about our winter storm threat? And really, what happens over the next couple of days is going to have an impact for at least the next 7 days, 7 to 10 days. And the reason why is because if we get a storm, winter storm developing on Tuesday and it intensifies and rapidly impacts the region and rapidly strengthens, then that fortifies the block and sets up the next storm that's around the 19th and 20th. If it doesn't, then you end up with still a block, but you don't have the same timing, and it tells you something about what's going on with the ridge in the west. So I know snow lovers don't want to hear this, but this is part of the winter weather pattern that we just have to monitor. Now, when we look at the European is much flatter. It has gone much flatter and basically is a near miss. Why? Well, look out west. You see this feature that's dropping down through Western Canada around, let's see, right around here. Okay. This feature right here knocks down the ridge. And what you end up with is a very flat 500 millibar pattern. And when it's flat like this, it doesn't allow for amplification here. So if you don't allow for amplification here, okay, so here we are 120 hours out, right? And you have a very flat feature here. You're getting it knocked down. You have a ridge originally, but because this is flat, this trough isn't able to amplify and it isn't able to dig. Now, when we take a look at the GFS, it's more amplified. And so you have a trough. Notice the trough orientation on the European is positive, slanted this way. And on the GFS, it's slanted more neutral. So this allows for a faster negative tilt. And so that's what you have here. This is how you get your winter storm. Whereas on the European, because you have a flatter 500 millibar pattern out west, you basically get a miss. You get two short waves, they're not aligned properly, and it misses out. And so you don't get as deep of a trough in the polar jet stream, and that's how you basically get a flat solution. On the GFS, you get a robust solution. On the ensemble guidance, okay, this is the European ensemble guidance, and it somewhat shows the same thing as the European does, okay? It produces this knockdown of the ridge. Now, because of this knockdown of the ridge, you end up with a weaker solution. So just maybe a complete miss or just a few scattered snow showers. Whereas on the GFS, you end up with more robust solution. Notice the falling 500 millibar heights. Now, to complicate matters even more, the GFS operational and the GFS ensemble guidance are two different models, right? So the European ensembles are kind of in the same family. They're not cousins, they're brother and sister, right? Whereas the GFS and the GFS ensembles is more like cousins. All right, they're in the same family, but they're not the same. They don't have the same physics involved in it. So it becomes a little bit more difficult to judge these models in that respect. Typically, when you have a European and European ensembles agreeing with each other, that is a warning sign. So We're going to find out over the next 24 hours exactly which solution is more accurate here. Is it this one or is it this one? Does this shortwave in the west knock down that ridge or does it not? And so what I'm going to be watching for, let's go back to the Warrior Vapor satellite picture and zoom out a little bit. I'm watching this feature way up here, which typically doesn't have the best sampling, which creates a whole lot of volatility. So that is what we're going to be watching for. And that is the primary question. And that's why we're seeing these different solutions in the model guidance, creating a lot of head scratching. And the thing is, once we get an idea of that storm, you see how intense it gets and see how it performs a nice upper level low around 50 north, 50 west here. Well, that sets up your next system that's diving through the northern plains with the potential for it to redevelop off the mid-Atlantic coast and create some mischief. But without that block, well, it's not as robust. It's kind of broad. And so you just get some rain snow showers. So you see how the evolution over the next 24 hours of this forecast is going to fundamentally change the expectations for next week. So we really are in a wait and see pattern until we get a better idea of what exactly that shortwave in Canada is going to do. In the meantime, we're going to be keeping an eye on our rainstorm that's going to be lifting through and starting late this evening. So after 7 p.m., you'll start to see rain out towards eastern Pennsylvania. It's going to become heavy at times. By 10 p.m., everyone's going to see rainfall. By 11 p.m., we can expect moderate to heavy rainfall. And again, there are some minor convective elements, but nowhere near as robust and impressive as the last event. But this will certainly produce the potential for wind gusts between 30 and 50 miles per hour. So definitely keep an eye on that as that lifts through. By the time you wake up on Saturday morning, the rain is gone. Everything's pretty much done. So it's not going to be a washout for the weekend. It's going to be a bit unsettled with some rain and snow showers and out towards the Great Lakes, which we'll talk about in a moment. Well, football is going to certainly be interesting with lake effect snow just rocking Buffalo here. So if you like football games with heavy snowfall, well, I got a game for you, which would be that game with the Bills. That is going to be one impressive scenario. And again, on the European guidance, the European high res, which goes out to about 90 hours, pretty much shows the same thing. So if you like your snowfall, you're going to love the Steelers at Bills game. Moderate to heavy snowfall, winds from the west southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour, temperatures in the 20s. Hopefully, if your team has a good running game, you'll win. If you are relying on the pass, you're going to have a heck of an afternoon. The other game that's going to be very interesting for impacts is going to be the Dolphins at Chiefs, where we'll have a few snow showers, and it'll only be about like -2, 3 degrees out. I'm not even talking about the winds from the northwest at 10 to 15 miles per hour. If you're going to be playing this game and not wearing gloves, just bare hands, as I've heard one quarterback is planning on doing, you are going to be in for one very rough afternoon. I'm not even talking about the game. I'm talking about the conditions of your hands. It's going to be rough. And of course, in those type of temperatures, I'm sure they'll have heaters on the sidelines and whatnot. But at those type of temperatures, you can have all the heaters you want. It's still going to be very, very uncomfortable out there. Very, very difficult playing conditions. Again, this might be a game where you're going to have to really rely on the run quite a bit rather than throwing the ball because, catching the ball, literally, it's going to be painful. So that is certainly going to be a very interesting game as well at 8 p.m. Not much of an impact for the Browns at Texans. The other two games are going to be played in domes. So even if there is precipitation outside, like the potential for rain and snow showers in Texas, which ought to create some havoc down there, but with temperatures in the mid 20s, I guarantee you they're going to be shutting that roof, so that won't be a factor. And then for you Eagle fans out there, there will be a threat for periods of rain for the game on Monday night, with winds from the southwest at 10 to 20 miles per hour and temperatures falling from the mid 60s to lower 60s, which in Florida feels like the mid 30s because, it's Florida. But overall, it looks like a rather wet game. The field conditions will probably be a bit muddy, but other than that, they should be just fine. So again, your two worst impacts Be the Dolphins and Chiefs, Steelers at Bills. I wouldn't go to those games, and I'm a Chiefs fan. No, I'm not going to sit outside to watch a game with like -3. I don't care how much free hot chocolate they give me. No, thank you. And of course, you can always find this information under the public dashboard, under the big football sign right there. And then during baseball season, we transition to a baseball. So there you have it. So let's dive into this forecast. We're using the GFS, not because it shows snow, because it actually shows via its unique little convective feedback area, both solutions at the same time. So I'm going to show you what I mean. So for today, look for increasing cloud cover with temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 40s over the northern interior, upper 40s to lower 50s along the coast, and lower to mid 50s in the Delaware River Valley. For tonight into tomorrow morning, periods of rain, heavy at times, strong wind gusts, potential for some wind damage, coastal flooding, urban flooding. You've heard it before. It's happening again. Clearing out by tomorrow morning with low temperatures ranging from the mid to upper 30s over the northern interior, lower to mid 40s in the Delaware River Valley, and mid to upper 40s on the immediate coast. By tomorrow afternoon, winds will come in from the west around 10 to 20 miles per hour with slowly colder conditions. So over the northern interior, temperatures will range from the lower to mid 40s. Along the coast, they'll range from the upper 40s to mid 50s as that cold air slowly builds in. For tomorrow night into Sunday morning, look for sky cloud cover with some snow showers possible in the Poconos and Catskills, as this lake effect snow is really going to be kicking up a notch over Lake Ontario and Lake Erie. We could get a few stray snow showers dropping into the region. Look for low temperatures to range from the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast. For Sunday afternoon, look for sky cloud cover with high temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 40s throughout the region. It's going to be more in the early afternoon, and then temperatures will be steadily falling as pure Arctic air builds into the area by Monday with sky cloud cover, maybe a flurry here and there, but for the most part, pretty quiet. But it'll definitely be very chilly, but low temperatures in the lower to mid teens over the northern interior, upper teens to lower 20s along the coast. High temperatures will range from the lower to mid 20s over the northern interior, upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast. On Tuesday, this is where we have a big question here. Well, we have a low pressure system developing here. That's agreed upon by all the model guidance. And you have scattered snow showers beginning to develop. Look for low temperatures ranging from the mid to upper teens over the northern interior, upper teens to lower 20s along the coast. High temperatures in the mid to upper 20s over the interior, upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast. Then our storm develops on Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning. And this literally is split into two exact solutions here. Okay, so if the storm intensifies and organizes, then you'll get a low pressure system closer to the coast and this snowfall. If it doesn't, it'll literally look like this. So literally the GFS has both solutions at the same time, which is just wonderful. So you have this setup here where if the low pressure system takes this track closer to the coast, you get this heavy snowfall, and it is going to be a rough morning rush hour on Wednesday morning. If you don't, then you basically get this, and you get a few scattered snow showers, and that is about it. Temperatures on Wednesday will range from the single digits to lower teens over the northern interior, mid to upper teens along the coast. High temperatures will range from the mid to upper 20s over the interior and upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast. With this type of cold air in place and this low pressure system, if this solution occurs, you're talking about snow ratios in the 15 to 1, possibly even 20 to 1 range here, rather than your traditional 10 to 1 range. So certainly the potential is there for a very impressive storm, but we have to wait and see exactly how this evolves and kicks out as we move on through. Now on Thursday, look for sky cloud cover with a few snow showers and flurries here and there. Look for low temperatures in the upper teens to lower 20s over the northern interior, lower to mid 30s along the coast, should I say lower to mid 30s over the interior, and upper 20s to lower 30s along the coast for highs. It is going to be another chilly day. And then on Friday, That's our next storm potential. We'll see what happens as a shortwave dives in, tries to redevelop. We'll see whether anything actually redevelops here. It strongly depends on the development of the next storm. So we'll see how that plays out. So for right now, we'll have increasing cloud cover with snow showers developing towards evening, with temperatures ranging from the upper teens to lower 20s over the northern interior, lower to mid 20s along the coast, and high temperatures ranging from the lower to mid 30s over the northern interior and mid to upper 30s along the coast. That is your forecast discussion for today. Have a wonderful day, and as always, stay safe out there.